Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right, party people. Tuesday night, Gridiron Grinder time. Getting to it early this week. Oh my gosh, this is going to be maybe a long night here, James. Anyhow, yeah, this is episode 192 of Gridiron Grinder. We are going to kick things off with Name That Stadium, just like we always do. Then we're going to cover the news from this past week, which was like a shortened week. After that, we're going to well, I don't know. Was it that shortened? I don't know. Whatever. Either way. Then we're gonna
Couple days.
cover the schedule preview where we left off. We did the first half of the league last week. We're gonna do the second half of the league this week, and then we'll close it off with our question of the week. And so, yeah, man. With all that being said, how's it going tonight, James?
It's going good. It's, early. You got stuff going on. I got stuff going on this weekend, so I had to kick it a little early. But
Oh yeah,
besides what I was bitching about with IT at work, it's going pretty good.
nice, man. Yeah, and I mean, hey, it's off-season stuff, so the day is less important than once the regular season hits. So I'm good with it, and yeah, I'm just sweating my sack off over here, but we'll make this thing happen, man.
Yeah, over there, not used to that heat, and you get that sun. Like I can see the sunshine right in the window right behind you. So
Oh yeah, well yeah, I mean, it's like my house has no shade on the backside, and that's like where my bedroom, my kitchen, my living room is, and so yeah, the second half of the day I just roast, and so
you need to
this like 90-degree weather every day has just been it's been sucking it out of me, but it's all right.
you need to get those blackout curtains that like we
Yeah.
have them like there's actually it's like maybe like a hundred bucks where like you can go you put it in and you can do day night where
Okay.
like you can close it to be completely dark when it gets super sunny and then the rest of the day you can have it open where it's kind of like a sheer and lets the light come in from outside.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I got to do something, man, because it's just not efficient for energy purposes, and it's
Yeah,
like impossible to sleep. So.
we had that for the kids room until they ripped that shit up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that happens. Yeah, but until I figure it out, I'll be drinking beer probably instead of whiskey because at least I can make my beer super cold and, it kind of hydrates me while I drink it. So,
Yeah, kind of.
or- yeah, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. What's the science on that? But yeah, hey, man, whenever you're ready, why don't you do some name that stadium for us?
All right, and I'm going to say I have a similar this week, similar inspiration for the stadium I'm at. I think you recognize it a little bit if you just look at the colors. But as you can see, I'm traveling around different NFL stadiums, tie it into to something we're talking about that week, something's going on in the NFL or in the world that week, whatever, something like Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. I just happened to be in Philadelphia that week for work, so why not? First person guesses right, gets the extra special shout out. You know, bookmark it, play it back for your pet fish because that's the only animal that won't leave you. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but last week I was at in Pittsburgh, which is Ackishire or whatever, however the fuck you
Whatever the
pronounce
name
it.
is now, yeah, the old
Stadium.
Heinz
I was
Field.
at old no, not Heinz Field, but um, so yeah, just because I picked it because when I was doing my research for talking about the schedule, everything was saying they had like the fucking hardest schedule, or my analysis they had the hardest schedule, and then everything I looked at they had the hardest schedule. So I kind of have a uh, similar inspiration this week if I could fucking talk, for where I chose. I'll tell you, I am in New England somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Uh, hint, hint, wink, wink. Anybody? Yeah. We're not going to get any takers, but
Yeah, I,
it's fine.
nobody's 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 picked a stadium
Yeah.
or guest in like 10 months.
Yeah.
So
And this is like, I don't know, a minute and a half of our 1.5 to 2 hour show. So we're obviously not going to abort it now.
yeah,
All right. Well, we'll keep it going and let's do our news of the week. So, James, I just saw earlier, which I thought we had talked
We should
about this.
we should start with the news that you really care about.
Oh, all right.
Um,
What's that?
there's they announced Kansas City and Hallmark announced that they're doing a holiday movie this year, um,
Holiday
called
touchdown.
Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love
Uh,
story. It's probably about fucking Taylor Swift, so
yeah,
nobody
yeah,
fucking watch it, and
yeah.
we can we can move on.
Here's the
Okay.
thing. Here's the thing that just messes me up now. All right, James, because in my soul, I feel like this is gonna bother me that they're doing this, but they made it a fucking holiday movie, which means I'm probably gonna watch it with my kids. Oh, yeah. So whatever. I guess I'll let you know
I-
how it is.
I'm surprised, and this is a little bit people don't necessarily know, but Hallmark was founded in Kansas City, and then their headquarters are in Kansas City.
Okay.
And so I'm surprised that the Chiefs and Hallmark haven't teamed up for a stupid fucking movie yet.
Yeah.
But
Well, now's the time. All right. Well, with that one out of the way, and hopefully we don't revisit it until Christmas, um, I saw the Jacksonville Jaguars approved a $1.4 billion stadium of the future to keep the Jags in Jacksonville for at least
mhm.
another 30 years. And I remember us talking something about this, but I don't remember, seeing like that number stuck to it and that it's all pretty much official now. But, these guys are a team that's been like every year. The chit chat has been maybe they're going to move, maybe they'll be the first London team, whatever the case may be. And it looks like now they're pretty set on staying in Jacksonville for the foreseeable future.
Not only is it $1.25 billion project, the city is chipping in 55% of that.
Man, yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Keep them there. They just gotta get over the hump and become a competitive team.
Yeah, so the proposal and the approved proposal, there's some caveats the city put on it. It included a 30-year lease of the stadium, a non-relocation agreement, and a provision that limits the number of games the Jaguars can play outside of Jacksonville.
Oh, why? Because they keep doing the international stuff. So they're like,
Yeah.
hey, if we're
So
gonna do this, you actually got to play here.
right. So, but it doesn't really change anything for the scheduling as it is now because it's under the new lease. The Jaguars would play all preseason and postseason home games in Jacksonville. They already do. And they would continue to play one home game a year in London.
Okay. So yeah. So if the league expands it and wants them to do more than that, they might have to. It could get sticky with the city.
Yeah. And then the Jaguars also have agreed to chip in for all construction cost overruns
Okay.
and assume day-to-day operations and pay for 80% of game day expenses moving forward. It's
Gotcha.
a 63,000 seat open air stadium that has a translucent covering on it.
Yeah, I guess I should click in the article, see if there was a picture.
Yeah, I was looking for a picture of it, but I'm not finding it. I'm gonna have to go to good old trusty Google.
Yeah, the NFL.com one. I don't know. It looks like there's a video, not a picture. And I'm not going to watch the video while we're hanging out. Yeah, but while you're looking, in other stadium news, looks like the city of Charlotte has approved an $800 million renovation for the Carolina Panthers stadium on the condition that they stay in Carolina for the next 20 years. And so, maybe not as sexy as 1 point whatever billion, but 800 million in renovations, nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, this shit looks fucking sweet as hell.
All right, now I gotta look it up.
It's like
Duval.
apparently it's not a new stadium, it's renovations.
Okay. Massive stadium upgrades. Okay, well, the article said a new stadium, but maybe that's why they had it in quotes because it's new.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, that's good, man. I mean, I do remember, maybe the current stadium is the one that has it. They had like pools, like on the lower level or whatever, where, people could like hang out in the pool while they were
Mhm.
watching the game, which I thought was kind of fun.
Have you
Uh,
seen the price of tickets to get access to the fucking pool there? It's
no,
it's like 3 grand.
yeah, you got to be like a fucking, you know, Instagram model or some shit. But I would imagine in Jacksonville, you might want access to that pool because it's going to
Yeah.
get hot.
Yeah, so it's yeah, it but like some of these pictures it look fucking sweet as hell.
Sweetness. Too bad we can't share them with everybody because we don't have anybody to help us with our videos and add all that kind of cool stuff to it. And
Yeah, so it looks
unfortunately, I'm
like
just not going to take the time to do that, and we don't probably have the rights to do it anyhow. So
yeah, but it it looks pretty sweet from what I'm seeing.
nice. Okay. In other news, James, it looks like the Packers are going to have a new chairman, president, and CEO in 2025. Ed Policy is going to replace Mark Murphy. And so that is,
You know who they need to replace is Brian Gutekunst, but that's another story.
yes, 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 yes. Um, yeah. And then, well, maybe he will. Who knows? Aside from that, James, Isaiah Buggs, not a big name guy, but he was on the Lions a few years back, played for the Chiefs. Um, he was released by the Chiefs because of multiple offseason incidents. I think one was like a domestic violence related thing, and I forget all of it, but teams aren't putting up with this crap. I thought it was kind of wild that Cam Sutton, after we cut him, got picked up by the Steelers, but in general, teams are kind of staying away from these guys until the dust settles on their various incidents.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really dove much into the Bugs shit, so
All right, man. This one's a little bit of a, um, you know, not hard news, but kind of on the tangent side. Shaq Leonard is a free agent, and you know, he had a really good start to his career. Looked like sort of like a generational kind of linebacker, and then all of a sudden, he changed his name to Shaq from Darius and started just like everything went off the rails. I don't know if they're connected or, whatever, but, um, he's in the news talking about waiting for that opportunity to play in 2024. This is like a early, not question of the week, but just a question. Do you think this guy has anything left, or did he just go like kind of his version of Antonio Brown and he's fizzled out now?
I will say that if there was even a glimmer of something left with him, he wouldn't be looking for an
Yeah,
opportunity.
somebody would have just signed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think I don't know. I think something got in his head, and now he's just not the same person. I mean, anytime a person publicly changes their name like that, and the crazy thing is he's saying his name was Shaq the whole time, but all through college and his first 4 years in the league, he went by, you know, it's just like, that's not good. It's not good when people change their name, James. But yeah, so okay, keeping it moving here.
I mean,
Um,
a perfect example of that is Chad Ochocinco,
yep,
who
he changed
changed
it and
his.
changed it back, right?
Didn't he change it and then change it to something else, then change it back?
Maybe that's what it was because I remember he got in trouble for like jersey sales because they were
No,
like,
no,
oh,
he,
we've already made like a million freaking, Chad Ochocinco jerseys or what Chad Johnson jerseys or whatever. And yeah, so that was
yeah.
interesting.
So with Shaq Leonard, technically, he is he's not lying. His middle name is Shaquille
Okay.
Darius Shaquille Leonard, and
Okay. Yeah. So he's saying he grew up with everybody calling him Shaq. It's
yeah,
just that at some point, whether it was college or whatever, everybody started calling him Darius. And now he wanted it to go back to Shaq. It's still funky, dude. I've known some people that have had the two name switcheroo. And let me just tell you, none of them were stable mentally. And so hopefully, if that's the case for him, he's getting help or whatever. Because, yeah, the people I've known, it did not go well with them, unfortunately. So,
so so my dad always went by his middle name.
okay. And
Um,
I've known people that do that, but they stick to it.
yeah, like he stuck to it, and everybody called him by his middle name. But the reason he went by his middle name is because his dad has the same first name as him,
Gotcha.
and but a different middle name, so he
Yeah,
went
wanted to
by his middle name.
differentiate it. Yeah.
Yeah, but people that change it like that, I agree with you. I have not met anyone that are too stable mentally when you go by one name for.
Yeah.
What is Chad Johnson? Did he change? And that's gonna bug me now. Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
No, he just changed it to Ocho Cinco. And I remember the whole thing with Ocho Cinco. The reason he changed it to Ocho Cinco is because he got fined by the NFL because, and this might not be the reason, but shortly thereafter, he wore Ocho Cinco on his nameplate instead of Johnson, and he got fined by the NFL or told he couldn't do that. And then he changed his name to Ocho Cinco and said, "See, I can do it now."
Yeah, it's legal.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then he changed it kind of back. He changed it to Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson.
he's crazy. He's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
glancing through this article, see if it mentions. He was when he was with. Yeah, it doesn't really talk about it. I was looking to see if it mentioned it, but it didn't.
hey, no biggie, man. No
Uh,
biggie. So the last thing I had, James, while you're looking around at that stuff, is with our former Lions great Barry Sanders. He had a heart-related scare, I guess, this past week. Um, hopefully he's okay. I'm sure he's got great care and now he'll be more on top of it and monitor it or whatever. But obviously it's nice, Barry sticking around Detroit, going to the games, showing up, trying to support the team, all those things. And too bad we never won one with Barry because he was phenomenal. But, he's pretty young. So hopefully he sticks around for a while, right?
hmm So, um, thing you missed, hopefully with Barry, thing you missed in the news was the Sunday ticket lawsuit.
Well, you don't have to say it like it's a bad thing, like I missed it, James.
Well, no,
This is a partnership here, my man. You can just do stuff too here, right?
yeah. So apparently there, and I don't remember hearing about it um, until real recently. There was a quote by Goodell about how it was Sunday Ticket was like premium or something or some shit. Um, but the class action lawsuits, 2.4 million residential subscribers and however many businesses from 2011 to 2022 claiming that the league broke antitrust laws by selling its package of Sunday games aired on CBS and Fox at an inflated price.
Hmm.
And they restricted competition by only offering it on DirecTV. And the NFL saying
Yeah,
that,
won't they have that problem now with all their streaming bullshit?
well, the NFL is claiming that it has a right to sell Sunday Ticket under its antitrust exemption for broadcasting, where, and this is good, this could affect a lot.
Bring it all back to regular TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
unlikely. Somebody's going to get greased and it'll be fine for the NFL, not for us.
anyways, the whole reason, if you go back to the root of NFL Sunday Ticket, and it was with DirecTV, you could get like if you were in certain spots or had certain cards or computers, you could get the broadcasts from other areas
Oh, yeah.
on your
Yeah, I remember how they had
DirecTV.
the cards. Yeah.
Um, and so on your satellite. So then the NFL realized this and it's like, whoa, we can capitalize on this.
Sneaky bastards.
So I think what kind of sets it apart and where it could um, be ruled as part of the exemption is there's premium content that was
Okay.
you had the what were the channels you had the red zone, fantasy zone, the shortcuts, which was the like game boiled down to like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so you had stuff that most people weren't getting.
Yeah, so you had stuff that people weren't getting. Um, it was C-band and K-band satellites. It was originally blah blah.
Here, while you're looking at that, I'm going to step aside here. I got to blow my nose.
All right. So I'm just looking at it, and it actually came around earlier than I thought for. But then here's my question to it. If they rule that Sunday Ticket violates the antitrust laws, then don't even though they have an exemption, doesn't that possibly cut into the exemption for their over the air, where like Sunday Night Football could now be aired? Because Sunday Night Football is on ESPN, which is technically a pay channel, and so it could, in theory, then open that up, or this whole the Amazon Prime games, because that's a pay service, or the NFL Network games, because that's a pay service. It's just a theory I have that where does it end if Sunday Ticket is as it violates antitrust. They also then you have like NBA League Pass, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice. Do all those violate the antitrust laws too?
Good question, my man. And it's all going to be about money. And I'm guessing the NFL is going to win it because they're good at getting money and taking our money. So
Yeah.
they've got the deeper pockets.
I was just looking to see if there was anything else.
Yeah, because what's the value add for ESPN? What you get premium analysts, premium something? I don't know. I mean,
Well, I mean, it's Joe Buck and um, Troy Aikman on ESPN. Which wait a minute, weren't they on Fox? So
yeah, but I mean, they got like NFL Live and whatever. So are you saying that,
yeah, but
that makes it
NFL
okay?
Live's on, like NFL Live, um, NFL Monday kickoff, NFL Sunday, whatever. Like they already have the pregame shit on ESPN and did even when ABC and ESPN didn't have Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Because there was a time when Monday Night Football was on, I want to say NBC. I want to say like in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It was on. Huh. I guess it's always been ABC and ESPN. Why do I remember it being on?
I don't know, my man. I can't help you with that.
I swear I remember it being on a different channel. But I guess I was wrong.
Well, at least you can admit that.
Because I thought there was a time when. Oh, I guess it was. I guess it was. Huh. I thought. Huh. I was wrong. So I was like the Madden era on it was but I guess that was on ABC.
Okay.
Like I don't remember Madden and Michaels being together. I remember Madden and Summerall.
Um, yeah, I guess was it? I mean, it would have had to been later, right? So, man, I missed the freaking John Madden era, dude. He was awesome to watch.
Yeah, I guess it was from
I will say this, like it or not, man, this is just one man's opinion. I do like Romo, man. I think he is freaking legit, highly intelligent. I like him. We'll see what Brady does. I don't know. I do like Aikman, but every now and then with Aikman, it's almost like you kind of like watching him. It's almost like he seems distracted at times, but I think it's because he's like watching the game. It's like that's just, I guess, part of the job. So,
yeah. You know who I can't fucking stand? And I liked it at first, but now it's just man, dude, shut up. Let us watch the fucking game. Is Tony Romo?
I was just saying I like Romo.
I can't stand him anymore.
You're not digging
Like
Romo. Okay. I
like
just think he's like straight to like the point with valuable information about the plays.
right at
Yeah.
times he is. At times he just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks,
All
and
right.
it's like motherfucker,
Dial it
let's
down. All
dial
right.
it down a little bit. Like, and it's only been a recent thing. Like, I liked Romo for like the first few years, and then it's just recently, it's like I have to mute it
Yeah. It's
if
like he
he's
he
on
likes
the
himself.
broadcast at
He
times.
likes to hear his own voice, so he's just going. Okay.
and then
I'll have to pay
he
more
speaks with
attention to that now to see how much he's rambling because I've just enjoyed watching him. But also there are times too when I'm watching the game where I just phase out the commentating and watch the game, right?
Mhm.
But um, I could see how if somebody's just rambling on, it could get annoying.
Yeah, and then like so and he's also had quite a few instances recently where he fucking makes a mistake and tries to like liken a play to some historic play, like
Okay,
calling like the the meaning to talk about the holy roller and talk about the immaculate reception and liken a fumble to the immaculate reception when he's trying
okay,
to draw the similarities to the holy roller.
okay, all right,
Just my opinion. I think he has to be more polished and just
sure.
kind of like go back to like
I
his
like him,
not taking over the broadcast.
like miles above what we got out of Jason Witten when he was doing it. That one was hard to watch. And I loved Witten as a player, but man, he was just not. It's like he never got comfortable in that seat, man. It just did not work for him, in my opinion.
I must have blocked it out because I do not remember when,
Oh,
like at
man.
all. Like I
It
do
was
not
hard
remember.
watching Jason Witten. And I mean, it's like one of those things where, it was new to him. And so maybe he just needed more time to get comfortable with it. But it was like very awkward watching him do it. But it's just the way it is, man. And now we'll get Brady, the GOAT. Let's
Yeah,
see how he does with it. And, if he sucks at it, he'll find something else to make a ton of money doing, I'm sure.
yeah. I'm not looking forward. Well, I can't stand Brady, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give him a chance, right? Because he could be great at it. You never know. It's just, You know, Brady's one of those guys. You either love him or you hate him.
yeah. Belichick could be great at it if he had a personality.
Oh,
I mean,
fucking Belichick would be amazing at it if he could just have a little charisma, because
yeah,
he's the guy that you want to hear breaking it down, right? Because he's going to give you everything you need to know. I mean,
yeah.
people would pay for that. That's where the NFL needs this premium content. Get Belichick to, have somebody coach him up on maybe give him some acting lessons to be more excited or something, and then give him
Yeah.
the job.
And you can tell it's really a slow news week when like one of the main articles on NFL.com is Niners QB Brock Purdy looks like the guy in San Francisco entering third season. No
Yeah,
shit.
duh.
No shit.
Purdy's
He
legit, man, and
he just
you
sold him to
know,
the Super Bowl.
yeah, and I mean, I skip over all that shit because there's really nothing tangible to it. It's just all puff, whatever. But yeah, we're in that time of year where it's going to be puff, puff, puff until, who knows, another month or so.
So the one interesting thing that I came across in some of these puff pieces, and I was like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. It's kind of a no shit, like everybody was trying to do it, but Philadelphia in 2012 had just signed Michael Vick to like a
Yeah,
6 year, $100 million contract.
his second $100 million contract. Yes.
Going into the draft, they Philadelphia was quote manically trying to trade up to get Andrew Luck.
No kidding.
Quote manically trying to trade up. And then when Peyton was leaving the Colts that same year, they were trying to figure out whatever way they could, do whatever they could to get Manning to come to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But Manning didn't want to go to Philadelphia because he didn't want to play in the same division as his brother.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I remember when he went to Denver. Oh, I'm trying to remember what it was. I thought there was one other team that was kind of like in the running, but or was it maybe Tennessee?
It was Tennessee, and the reason why it was Tennessee was because that's where he went to college.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's right. It was Tennessee, but yeah, it was like, um, you know, yeah. What I mean, it worked out for him. He had the ugliest final Super Bowl ever. That season, his arm just fell off the cliff so bad, but the defense found a way to carry him and get it done, man. And not just the defense carried him. He did make some plays. It was painful
Wasn't
watching him.
didn't he like not play in like half the playoff games or half the playing time in the playoffs that year?
I don't remember that. I remember him playing, but it was ugly. It was wild too because like whatever the first or second year in Denver, he set the touchdown record and was just lighting it up, and then it just was like boom, the arm strength fell off the cliff. And it's not like he ever had that strong of an arm, but it fell off hard, man. There was just
Mhm.
nothing there in that final year.
Let's take a glance at it. So it was what was that? 13? Was it 14?
Oh, I don't even fucking know, dude.
13 was his MVP, so it was 15. I want to say he like split time with some nobody in the playoffs.
Hmm.
Or
Trevor
like I remember
Simeon? Was that when Trevor Simeon was relevant?
maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but for some reason I thought like he sat out a lot. But like you knew it was obvious he was retiring because like at the end, like not just because his arm fell off, because there's all that um speculation about it. Um if he was gonna retire or not. And then after he won the Super Bowl MVP, he violated the league's drinking like endorsement policy.
Oh, geez.
But he so like basically he had no choice but to retire, or he would have been um, fined or suspended by the league because at the time,
It wasn't
and
Simeon, by the way. He had 3 games played in 15 with Denver in the playoffs, but no completions or attempts.
yeah, I'm just remembering it wrong.
That's no big deal, man.
But so like after he won the MVP, he said something about like instead of
Bud
Disneyland,
Light.
Disney
Yeah,
World,
I need a
he
Bud Light.
I need a Bud Light or something like that, which at the time the league you couldn't endorse. The league policy was players couldn't endorse alcoholic beverages. I don't
Okay.
know if it still is the policy, but
Yeah, I
um,
remember him doing that once, but man, I don't know why I thought it was after like a regular season game or something where he was like, I could use a cold Bud Light right now or something. And it was just, I remember it being so weird because it was like, man, you never heard a player do that before. Well, that's why, because they weren't fucking allowed to do
yeah,
that.
they weren't allowed to, and like it turned out like Peyton Manning had like a big distributor license facility
uh,
in Denver for Bud
yeah,
Light.
a lot of businesses, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But conflict of interest as well, I guess.
yeah, but it was like went directly against the anti-alcohol
Yeah.
policy of the league.
Yeah.
I
Man,
swear it was
I
right
could use a
after.
freaking Marlboro Red right now. Woo! Yeah, that would
Yeah,
have been.
I'm trying to see if I swear that was the Super Bowl. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, so then his other one must have been the MVP year when he got his shit pushed in by the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Man, they got beat down bad.
No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. His MVP year was 13. I was thinking his MVP year was 14.
Okay.
So in 13 they lost to the Seahawks 43-8.
Oh, that was like the biggest blowout in a Super Bowl. Dude, it was just so nasty, man. Like, I mean, so many Super Bowls are more just like competitive games. That one was just nasty. It was hard to watch. I was bummed out. I was on a fucking cruise and we had international whatever. And so like we were missing parts of the game and there weren't any of the commercials and it was like, holy
First
shit,
of all,
this game is just
first of
nuts.
all, why the fuck did you schedule a cruise that
I
where you were
didn't.
on the
I
ship?
didn't. It was a family thing. I had to do it, but I know what you mean. So I've been on vacation for the Super Bowl a couple times. It fucking sucks.
So 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 this is my response when the wife says, "Oh, let's go to a Super Bowl party." I
Oh,
said, "Sure, go ahead."
this was a bigger family thing, like, hard to get out of it. So
Sure, go ahead and go. I'll be sitting on the couch watching the fucking game.
yeah, no, trust me, they know now that it doesn't work that way for me. So yeah. A lot of times, honestly, I just sit around by myself and watch the game. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, I talk to you and shit while we're watching the game, but it's like, man, I'm like so committed to it that I don't want any distractions.
Yeah, that's like fine, like when dating, okay, first year of married, maybe. We had fucking kids, and so the kids can sit in the fucking high chairs. I'll sit on the couch. We'll watch the game together. You want to go to a party? Go for it. Have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But, anyways, I
Anyway,
digress.
anyway, you ready to get to the schedule here, man?
Yeah, rambled
You
enough
know,
there.
I know last time we chewed up the whole night. You had to go, so I don't want to have you burn out and turn this into a three-part series.
Oh, we won't. So, first up, we ended on Kansas City last time, so we're on Las Vegas, correct?
Correctamundo, my man.
So, the Raiders are another team that starts off with two on the road, um, then two at home, but they're not. One of the road games is a difficult game, and we'll see about the other one that they open the season on. They
Yeah.
they kind of have, and I want to look at what really it's ranked that high. It's that hard of a schedule. It looks so fucking easy. So
Yeah,
according
it's because
to
they got
Sharp Football, they have the 24th hardest schedule, or 24th easiest, ninth hardest schedule. But when you look at it,
yeah, they
it's
got
like,
Denver twice, they've got
oh,
Carolina, they've got Atlanta, they've got New Orleans. I could see some easy games in here, but they do have
they play the
Baltimore,
they play the
they got
AFC
the
North,
Rams,
which
they got the Bengals, the Dolphins, Kansas. Yeah, it's their hard teams are really hard is what it is, right?
yeah, they play the AFC North and they play the NFC West on that. But I mean, but they have some easy fucking games on it too, like taking out their is it the West? Yeah, San Francisco, Seattle, but like their hard games are at home. Like they play San Francisco at home. Nope, never mind. My eyes are.
So
Hold on. Let me look at this again. My eyes are misaligning. They don't play San Francisco. Who? That's not the West. My eyes kept going back and forth with the
they play the
Rams.
Rams. So
Yeah.
maybe that was making you think that.
So they
And if you go up a
play.
line to Kansas City, they play San Francisco.
Yeah. So if the line above and the line below play San Francisco, so that
Okay.
was throwing me off on it. So see Carolina, Tampa Bay, they play the South, which is the NFC South, which is the easiest division in football.
Yeah. And they've only got two primetime games, so there's no Vegas love, right? Which I kind of like, because when they relocated to
Oh,
Vegas, I thought, are they just going to start getting primetime games because they're in Vegas? And I think this
yeah.
is, no, you still got to be good,
No,
right?
they only have the one primetime game because
Oh man,
the
CBS is saying two.
no, because they play on Black Friday, which is like a noon Pacific
Okay.
game.
Yeah, so CBS, the article I'm at doesn't give me the list. It just tells me the Vikings, Raiders, Commanders, Broncos, Jaguars have two primetime games each.
Yeah, no,
So they
it's
must
not
be thinking that
primetime.
that Black Friday must be falling under that bucket for CBS purposes or something.
Let me double check the game time on that, because I swear the Black Friday game is at like
All right,
noon.
hang on. I got another one that I think gives me the ones by team. So let me just pull it up here.
Yeah,
let's see.
Friday November 29th is 12 p.m. Pacific time on Prime Video.
So the Raiders got one on November 29th at the Chiefs. And then let's see if this other article gives me another one.
No, November 29th is Black Friday. That's not
Okay.
prime time.
Well, then this. So Sporting News is considering that a primetime game, as well as CBS Sports.
So then the Lions fucking Thanksgiving game's a primetime game.
I mean, the year we didn't have any, that was kind of like we just took it at that, right?
They have 2 games in windows of exclusivity, but only one primetime game. And
I'm just reporting.
You're reporting fucking wrong.
From CBS Sports and Sporting News.
But it's at noon Pacific. It's at 3 p.m. It's a
I'm
fucking.
just telling you, James. This is how they're looking at it. Don't hate me for reporting on the reporting.
Reporting on the reporting.
Correct. I'm reporting on the reporting.
Okay.
All right. So what else do you think about the schedule? I mean, the way it ends, they get 3 out of 4 at home, which is kind of nice, right? But
really,
I don't know. I don't see the Raiders being playoff relevant at the end anyhow.
They get 5 of their last 7 at home.
Hang on. 5 out of 7. I'm showing 1,
Week
2,
12, week
3,
13
4.
at home, week 14 on the road, week 15 at home, week 16 at home, week 17 on the road, week 18 at home.
I'm only getting 4 out of 7 here.
1, 2.
So I'm showing 12
3,
at home against Denver, 13 at home against the Falcons, 16 against the Jags, and 18 against the Chargers.
Okay. I don't know why the fuck. So on my
You're getting quite aggressive here tonight, James. Are you smoking some reefer over there or something?
Obviously. On my grid, it has road games in red, home games in black. With the exception of that Kansas City Vegas game on Black Friday, it has, even on the Kansas City line, it has Las Vegas in red, which should signify a home game. And then on the Vegas line, it has Kansas City in black, which should signify a road game.
Okay.
But it does have the little at. So that was throwing me off. So I apologize.
No biggie, man. No biggie. I'm just sweating you a little bit. Yeah, these guys don't have an international game. Yeah, I mean, it's good and bad, right? They've got some easy games, but they also have some really hard games. And I think the problem for them is that the first 2 are on the road, which is going to be tough, and that could set a bad tone. Then they get Carolina at home, which could be like, let's just say they go 0 for 2 out of the gate. You play Carolina at home, you're 1-2, and then you got to play Cleveland, who it's anybody's guess how good Cleveland's going to be, but their defense was lights out last year. If you're 1-3 through that game, and then you go to Denver in week 5, you could potentially lose at Denver and be 1-4, man. I mean, and then their season is already slipping away. And then at home against Pittsburgh, that's not going to be easy no matter who's at quarterback. I don't know. I just think the Raiders are in trouble, but it's not as much as the schedule as it is just where they're at as a team, is that they're not ready for this kind of schedule. And it's not even that it's that hard of a schedule, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I'm trying to save it. I'm going to have to find it again. I'm going to save it for the Jets.
Sure.
But
you Raiders had a rookie quarterback stat thing. Well, I don't know if you had me wanting me to run. I don't know if that's where you wanted to go, but you talked about the Jets, and so
Yeah, and I have to find it again because it's fucking crazy.
all right. So the Raiders, I don't know. The schedule to me, it seems a little off compared to where they're ranked, but um, they're they need Antonio Pierce to turn their defense into basically a fringe top five unit for them to have any hopes of playoffs this year.
Yeah, they need that. Then they need their rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. Is that who they drafted?
No, no. So they got
Oh,
Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
I thought they. Oh, so they don't have a rookie quarterback.
No. So,
Well, I didn't
and
think they had a
honestly,
rookie quarterback.
you never know. Between O'Connell and Minshew, one of them could rise to the occasion where if the
I
defense
don't.
is that good and the rest of the team, does their job, I just still don't see them making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I don't see them making the playoffs. I think Aiden O'Connell has a chance to be really good,
Yeah, the
but
tools are there. It's just, is the development going to be there? And then we know what you're
exactly.
getting in Minshew. You're getting maybe the league's best backup, and he can definitely come in and start on occasion. He's just not a full-time starter.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, ready to go on to the Rams here, man?
I am, and
All right.
so
Yeah. So I guess we could go Rams or probably
it technically would be
Chargers is
Chargers, but
yeah. See, the
my list.
ESPN spreadsheet put the Rams first, so
Yeah, I don't know fucking why,
yeah.
but
Well, let's
my
just do the
spreadsheet put it
Rams so we don't
first.
skip a team.
So the Rams have a weird,
Former playoff team, by the way. I've been highlighting that for those guys. Yep.
have a weird fucking schedule. They have two out of their first three are on the road. They start off back-to-back road games.
Yeah, and
Actually,
three
three
out
out
of
of
four are on the road to
on the
start.
road, but two of the games are easier teams. Um,
Oh yeah, Arizona,
yeah,
Chicago.
Arizona, Chicago. They have one,
Yeah, if you're going to play on the road, those are the teams
three,
you want to play.
four. They have five primetime games.
Okay, let me see. I don't have my article, but can I debate you on that now? Let's see. The Rams. You're saying five. My article is consistent with that, James.
But they have a lot of stretches. So two on
No
the road,
international games.
no international games. So they start off the season with two on the road. Then like week 5, including the bye, week 5 to 8,
Yeah, they've got
and
an
all that,
early bye in week 6. Yep.
and then they have two. They 2 and 2, two on the road, and then they finish with two at home, and they play 3 division games in the last 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, so that could keep the division open if the Rams can get back up into that kind of caliber and maybe compete with the 49ers. So,
The non-division game in those 4 weeks is at the New York Jets.
yep, which we'll find out what's going on with Rodgers, but that could be a tough game. So, yeah, you could be saying that potentially that could be, and they got Buffalo before that, week 14. I mean, they could have a really hard way to finish the year, basically. I
Yeah,
think Arizona in 17 maybe gives them a little relief, but even Seattle in 18, Seattle's not going to lay down to the Rams, man.
yeah. Seattle's not going to lay down. Arizona's not going to lay down to the Rams. The Rams will probably beat Arizona, but
Yeah. And who knows by then, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., they could be clicking and fucking that defense could be moving again. I mean, Arizona can surprise some teams. They did it last year without Kyler Murray for most of the year. But um, yeah, I think the Rams have kind of a sneaky hard schedule, and some of it is because of the way they finish.
yeah. And so looking at the ratings of their schedule, it's ranked 17th easiest, so
Yeah, I gotta
15th
find that. I gotta
hardest.
find that. What did you do? You put that in the chat last time? That link or?
No, we both happen to come up to it. I'll just send you the link now.
Yeah, send me
So
the link. Yeah.
we both were referencing it
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
on our own. Like we independently came across it and we're
Yeah, the
referencing it.
sharp football analysis. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it'll
it's
be
a good article, man. The way they do it, it's just because it's all based on last year's wins and losses, right? And so obviously a
it's
lot
based no,
changes.
it's based on the Vegas odds.
Oh,
The
it's oh, okay,
Vegas
based on the
open,
Vegas odds. Okay, all right.
which Vegas
So
knows what the fuck
that's
they're
probably
doing.
that's a lot better, right,
Yeah.
than the record from last year. All right. So what else with the Rams schedule here, man? I mean, they're coming to Detroit in week one, which is going to be spicy, right? Because we got them in the
Hmm.
playoffs. And so, there's going to be a ton of hype in that game. Oh, Stafford in Detroit again.
Yeah, he's good. Stafford in
Playoff
Detroit.
rematch.
Good.
Can they get it back? Blah, 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 blah. I'm hoping we punch them right in the mouth in week one and give them a fucking crazy uphill battle, man.
Hmm. Then you ready to go to the Chargers?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
The Chargers, the league did no fucking favors to start the season with a new head coach. They have an early bye in week 5, but their third home game, and you can verify this. Their third home game is week 8.
Oh my gosh, you're right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's all right. Um, Man, yeah. Through week 8, they have two in a row stretches on the road with a bye
Hmm.
in the middle there. Um,
And then like the end of the season, they have 3 games at home, 2 on the road, 2 at home. End the season with 2 on the road.
yeah, that's a really shitty schedule for Harbaugh to be moving into,
Yeah. The good thing for Harbaugh is they have the second easiest schedule in the league.
which is strange because when you think about how much they're playing on the road like that, and then even in the middle of the season, you've got week 11 and 12, Cincinnati and Baltimore at home. Oh man, they're not like getting powder puff teams at home either, man. I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
ooh. I mean,
But
Tennessee,
with
Denver,
the
oh man, I just,
but all with the exception of, and
I
assuming
think,
Pittsburgh is who
yeah,
we are, with the exception of Pittsburgh, all their tough games are at home.
yeah, and I think maybe the one thing that looks okay for them is that they do have an early bye in week 5. And when you've got a new head coach and things changing like that, sometimes it helps to have that bye week early to just give everybody another week to say, okay, now we've played a few games together. Here's the shit that we got to fix and clean up now before we go on for the rest of the year. I think that helps. Like if you're a new coach, and not that Harbaugh's new, but new to the team, if he had a week 12 or whatever bye, you could be struggling and you don't get any relief until week 12. This way, if they've got some issues early on, they've got that week early on to kind of correct it and maybe course correct, right?
That's true, or fire Harbaugh, but
No, they're not going to fire him in the
I
first
know.
year. He'd have to like do something crazy outrageous to get fired in the first year. I mean, it could happen. What Urban Meyer did some fucking crazy outrageous shit, so you never know. But
Yeah, but we talked about that with Urban Meyer. Like Urban Meyer, like you remember the shit? I forget the kicker down there. The shit he
oh
was
yeah,
doing with the kicker, or how he was just standing there kicking him
yeah,
and
yeah.
shit like
God, he
that.
was just stupid as shit. But yeah, yeah. This could be a rough year for the Chargers. Now, I
Yeah,
think that when you look at what he's doing with the team, he's trying to show people that they're going to build, or well, not that they're going to build, but at least this year, they're going to try to win with defense and running the ball, and then have Herbert dropping it deep, is what it looks like. And, you know, I think that can keep them in a lot of these games, especially because you got Herbert, who's just one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Um, but that strategy with the right coach can play well, and so that could make this schedule, somewhat palatable.
could. We'll see. I think it's a rough road to hoe to start the season, and then
Who you calling ho? Two,
and
four. So four of their last six are on the road too, man. I mean
because they have nine. The AFC has 9 road games this
so
year
they start with 4 out of 6 on the road, and they
and finish
finish
with
with
four
four
out
out
of
of
six
six on the
on the
road.
road.
Man, they got such a hose job, dude. All right, on to the Dolphins,
Under the Dolphins. Dolphins are
former
the
playoff team.
former playoff team, are the flip. And the Chargers have 3 primetime games.
Yes, yeah,
Under the
I
Dolphins
don't know why I thought you said that, but maybe you didn't. Okay, the
the
Dolphins
Dolphins
got 5.
have 5. And the only reason I will agree with you that it's 5 is because they have the third game on Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
Um, but
I'm reporting on the report. Reporting
they
on the
kind of have
report, James.
they have a they have an early bye in week 6, and they kind of have the flip schedule of um, the Chargers. It's the 8th hardest schedule, but they have 4 out of their first 6. I'm sorry, 3 out of the first 5 at at home,
And then a bye, which
and then
helps
a
for the next
bye.
one being on the road. But I do think that having an early bye when you're the Dolphins is a disservice to you
Mhm.
because you're a playoff team, you're ready to roll. You don't really need that bye until later on where you need to kind of recharge your batteries before you make that final push at the end of the year.
Yeah, and then they finish the season with 3 out of 4 on the road,
Yeah,
or
and
four out of
potentially,
six, four out of
yeah,
six on the road.
yeah, and potentially very tough final 2, 4, 6 games. At Green Bay, at home against the Jets, at Houston, at home against San Francisco, at Cleveland, and then at the Jets. That's a brutal way to finish the year, man.
Yeah, it's a terrible way to finish the year for them, and
And
it
they've
could be
got
rough.
Buffalo and the Rams in the middle at 9 and 10. I mean,
And
these
then,
guys got to come out and just fucking light it up out of the gate, or they could have problems.
but out of the gate, they're at home: Jacksonville, Buffalo, Seattle.
I mean, they because they're at home, they could beat Buffalo in week 2,
Hmm.
and I mean, I could see them winning their first 5, 2, 4, 5, their first 7 potentially. And I think honestly, they kind of have to with how hard it gets from there.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
No international games. All right, on to the Vikings. Fuck
Vikings
the
have an
Vikings, by the way. Yeah,
international game week 5. They also have a week 6 bye. They play the Jets in London in week 5, and
yeah,
outside of that, they have 2 primetime games: the Rams and at the Rams, and then home against Chicago. Um,
yeah. I think them having an earlier bye is good for them because they're
with
a
the
team
rookie
in
quarterback,
transition with Yep Cousins out. You know, they got McCarthy and Sam Darnold there, or whatever.
and then like in the middle of the season, they have a three game road trip and a 3-game homestand,
Yeah.
and those 6 games are fucking easy as hell, except with the exception of Jacksonville.
Yeah. So it's because it's going to be on the road, right? Those 3 games could be potentially a difference maker for them in terms of the season. Because if they falter on the road, I mean, then their season for sure probably done by then, right?
According to Vegas odds, their schedule is ranked number 28, the 28th hardest. So what's that? The fifth easiest, or sorry,
Yeah.
the 28th easiest, the fifth hardest schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck them. Fuck the Vikings.
Fuck them.
Um, yeah. I mean, they finish at Detroit. I'm hoping we just blast their fucking grill out and, run our way into the playoffs again. But, um, yeah, so they finish with Green Bay and Detroit. Well, 3 out of 4 in the division. Chicago in 15. So, I mean, I think they're going to be out of it by then, so it's not going to matter. Honestly, it's going to be can they play upset alert for any of Chicago, Green Bay, or Detroit in
Yeah.
those final weeks? That's all it's going to be for them is try to shut down one of our division rivals, you know? So I don't know. I mean, is it really that hard? They're playing the Giants, uh, the I don't know, the Colts, the Titans, Arizona. I don't know that it should be that hard, but
So let me see if I can.
I mean, I know they got San Francisco, Houston. All right, I can see it being on the harder side. All right, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't have the breakdown of like the projected win totals for
Yeah,
um
like a Cynthia Freeland article.
yeah,
That's
but
fine.
it's they have a lot of fucking travel. They're middle of the NFL. Like I total during the season, they traveled 19,000 miles.
Yeah. I think part of it is that the league is expecting, or Vegas is expecting, a team like Chicago to be good. They're probably expecting Atlanta to be better than people are thinking. And then, we know there are teams that are in here that are good, like San Francisco, Houston, Green Bay. The Jets are supposed to be good, the Rams. So I get it. It could be a very hard schedule for them. And I hope it is, and I hope they suffer because I hate the fucking Vikings. Love their stadium, hate
Hate them.
them as a team. So, all right, next up, we got the New England Patriots, man.
All right, Patriots. They play Week 7 in London against or at Jacksonville. They have one other one primetime game in Week 3 at the New York Jets. They have the second hardest schedule according to Sharp Football.
One primetime game.
Yeah, one
Is that the
primetime.
London game?
No, they play at the Jets in Week 3, Thursday
Oh,
night.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's for the Patriots, that's like the fall from grace. You got one fucking primetime game,
And
but they got to work it back now.
they don't really have like looking at it like in the middle of the season because I'm not assuming the Jets are going to be a cupcake. Jets I think would have been a playoff team last year if Rodgers would have played more than 4 snaps.
Yeah.
But and I think Cincinnati would have been a playoff team last year if it weren't for him kind of like choking at the beginning of the season. So they
I mean,
start
this could
at
be a 4-win season, the way I'm looking at it. It could be a
yeah.
4-win season.
So their 3 of their first 4 games are on the road at Cincinnati, at the Jets, at San Francisco.
And they got a fucking crazy late bye week, too, when you got a new head coach, a rookie quarterback. That's like the worst combination, man.
And then coming out of the bye, you have 2 road and 2 home.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. It would be, they need kind of like a mini miracle to get into the playoffs this year.
A mini miracle. That's putting it mildly.
All right. Well, just call it a miracle. Sometimes those rookie head coaches surprise people, right? Because nobody knows what to expect from them. And so, I'm saying 4 wins. It'll be probably a few more than that just because of that unexpected, element to a rookie coach and what they're going to be doing. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints.
All right, and the Saints have the 5th easiest schedule in the league.
3 primetime games, none international. Week 12 bye, which is, I think, a very good spot for them. They're an established team. That's a good place to put it. They just underperform every year. And so, looking at the schedule,
Nothing really sticks out on the Saints' schedule. It's kind of
it looks like a plain vanilla schedule.
yeah, exactly. Like nothing's glaring.
It's nice that they get to start with Carolina. Let them beat up a team early, and then they got to go to Dallas and then play Philly. It gets tough. All right. But maybe they got some confidence after beating up the Panthers. and then if they have a brutal stretch with Dallas, Philly, maybe skip Atlanta, but Kansas City, then week 7 you got Denver, maybe gives you a little bit of relief. You got Carolina again in week 9. Um, and then later on you got the Giants, the Commanders. I don't know, dude. This is where
So
does Sharp have them at?
fifth easiest, yeah, fifth easiest. So the thing the league did with their schedule, then this is the only thing that really sticks out on the schedule, is they play the NFC East, but they play at Dallas, then home against Philadelphia is weeks 2 and 3, and then for the other
Yeah,
teams
14
in
and
the East,
15.
14 and 15, they play at the Giants and then at home against Washington. And it was almost the same thing for the um I don't know, my eyes misaligned.
I don't see them making the playoffs, even though I think it's a fairly easy schedule.
So it was almost the same thing for they played the AFC West. It was almost kind of the same thing, except for the Las Vegas and Kansas City games are spread out. But they weeks 5 to week 8, they played 3 of the 4 AFC West teams.
Yeah,
But that's all that really stuck out.
yeah. I mean, on paper, it's an easy schedule. Somehow, I think they're going to fuck it up.
Probably. Ready to move on to the hapless Giants?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't know why I hate the Giants too, but yep.
Okay, so the Giants, they play in Germany in week 10. They have week 11 bye. Outside of that,
Three
they have
three primetime.
3 primetime games. Weird quirk on the schedule is they play both games against Dallas are on Thursday
Okay.
because the second game against Dallas is on Thanksgiving. First game is on Thursday Night Football, and the second game against Dallas will be on CBS,
Okay.
which is like the first time it's happened in like 8 billion years, from what I read.
Yeah, the week 11 bye is good for them. You got an established coach, established quarterback. It's like they're expected to be, somewhat firing on all cylinders to start the year. And so I think that's a favorable bye week location. Um,
According to Sharps, their strength of schedule is the 12th 13th hardest in the league, which I could see that because they play the AFC North and I'm trying to and the well AFC North, but the NFC South. So that's kind of I don't know if
yeah.
that's kind of offsets it.
Well, and closing out the year is going to be tough because they're playing one, two, three, four out of their last, what is it? 4 out of their last 7 are playoff teams. So this is another one of these schedules where if they want to make the playoffs, they got to win, and they got to win a lot before their bye week, which I don't think they're going to do. Although they could, because Minnesota's going to be potentially an easy one right off the bat
I'm counting 5 of 7.
for their playoff teams to finish the year. One, two,
Two,
three,
three.
4.
Oh, never mind.
Tampa
For
Bay,
some reason,
Dallas, Baltimore, Philly.
I think I counted Tampa Bay twice.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, I mean, Minnesota and then at Washington, that's probably a good way to start and build some momentum. But then at Cleveland, at home against Dallas is going to be tough. We'll see what's
Well, they,
going on with Seattle by then. It's hard to say. Oh
and they play
man,
Cincinnati, Philadelphia
I think
back to
they're in
back,
trouble,
but
man. I think they're in trouble.
they're in a lot of trouble this year.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, this is not question of the week, but let's just say they miss the playoffs. James, do you fire Dable?
I don't fire Daboll because you hamstrung him with Daniel Jones.
I know, but it's a league where the results are the results, right? I mean, typically the coach is going to have to fall on the sword, even if he got fucked into the whole thing. And I thought he was a Daniel Jones advocate for him getting that contract too, right? So, uh, oh man, I like him, but I think he could be doomed.
You might be right. I don't know.
Time will tell. All right, off
Time
to
will
the
tell.
Jets.
Off to the Jets. The
Did you find
Jets,
your rookie quarterback stat?
I did. I'll go there in a second. The Jets have the fourth easiest schedule in the league
Yeah,
this year.
fucking a fuckload of primetime games.
6 of their first 11, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 of the first 11 games are primetime. 7 of the first 11 games are windows of exclusivity because they play Minnesota in London in week 5. Weeks 3, 4, and 5, they play rookie quarterbacks. Over the last decade, rookie quarterbacks are 36 and 76 in weeks 1 through 5,
Okay.
or a 325 winning percentage.
I think they got a pretty easy schedule, man. What's Sharp saying?
It's the 5th easiest,
The fifth easiest,
4th easiest.
fourth
Sorry.
easiest. Okay.
New Orleans was the 5th easiest. It starts off with at San Francisco, and then
Which is, yeah, so tough off the bat, but then powder puff for the next three. Actually, the next four.
mhm,
At Tennessee, at home against New England, at home against Denver, at Minnesota. There's no reason for
no,
them to
not at
not
Minnesota,
be,
in London, in London.
yeah, whatever. There's no reason for them to not be 4-1 starting the year, man. I mean, if they're not 4-1 to start the year, they fuck something up or Rodgers got hurt again.
Yeah. Interestingly, they play, and this is, oh, that's weird. So they play Monday night, and then they come back and play Sunday night, weeks 6 and 7. That's kind of weird,
Yeah. I
but that
think
could be a
their last, I think 4 out of their last 5 could be tricky for them, right? At Miami, you know, whatever, Jacksonville, but then at home against the Rams, at Buffalo, at home against Miami. So I think that,
4 of their last 6 are at home. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Is that right?
they should be, no, 3 out of 6, but they should be,
4. Seattle, at Miami, at Jacksonville, home against the Rams, home against Buffalo, home against Miami.
no, at Buffalo in week 17.
What the fuck? Why is my grid?
Your shit's all jacked up, man.
All
Yeah,
right,
so I think if
we're
they,
talking about the Jets.
yeah, I think if they have any struggles before the bye, they could be in trouble later in the year. But I think their schedule is so soft before the bye. All they got to do is split after the bye, and they're in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, I think so. And especially, like, I mean, they have Miami twice in there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think the schedule is really in the Jets' favor, to be honest. It's an Aaron Rodgers go out on a high note and let everybody see you and celebrate you. We're gonna let you beat up a bunch of shitty teams in the first fucking 11 weeks of the year, and then you gotta maybe be good for the last 5 games or whatever. So,
You know what I just
uh,
fucking realized? And this pisses me off now too. Motherfucking NBC has uh, the game in Brazil is on Peacock.
okay, yeah,
and NBC has Thursday, Friday that week, Thursday, Friday night football, and then Sunday night football that week. I moved on to Philadelphia.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
2, 3, 4
Philadelphia, former playoff team.
former playoff team, 5 primetime games, including 2 to start the season. They play in Brazil on Friday, September 6th at 5:15 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8:15 Eastern, which is fucking prime time. Lucky they don't have cousins. They have a lot of 2-2. They start well. Okay, I'm going to count that as a home, but they have 2 at home, 2 on the road, 2 at home, 2 on the road, 1 on the road, 2 at home.
Yeah.
3 of their last 3 games are divisional games.
Yep. Yeah, the NFL's trying to really push that, is what it seems like in the schedule.
According to Sharp, they have the motherfuckers have the 8th easiest schedule.
I take it you don't like Philly.
I don't like how they get all this cakewalk fucking schedule. Like, remember, like, their Super Bowl year, they played nobody. They had like the easiest schedule in the league, and now they have another fucking easy ass schedule. Like, how the fuck do they get such an easy ass schedule?
Yeah, and it's weird that they've got an early bye, so I think that goes against them. But they do have a new offensive coordinator, right? So maybe that'll help them.
Weeks 2, 3, and 4 are all against the fucking NFC South.
Yeah, this is I don't know, man. To me, you're playing. All right, so you got Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Cleveland. Cincinnati
Dallas,
hypothetically should be a playoff team, but they weren't. You
the
got
Rams,
Dallas, the Rams,
Baltimore.
Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Dallas
Pittsburgh's pretty bad.
again. So 8 of their games are against playoff teams, basically. So I don't know. It's not that easy, but I get what
But
you're saying, though.
projected win total though is the 8th easiest.
No, I hear you. I hear you. But when you got 8 playoff teams, it's not a cakewalk, right?
But they have, if you want to count, didn't Jackson? No, Houston won the division, but they play Houston.
So you think that they're getting soft? The schedule
I think
makers are giving it to them soft.
I think somehow the formula gives them a softer schedule
Roseman's
because
greasing them,
possibly.
or Lurie, whatever the owner's name is. Jeff Lurie.
Yeah, now I was trying. I I was thinking. I was like, because I talk about Laurie and what's his face, Howie Roseman, as like the same person, kind of. So I forget. I had to double think which one was the owner and which one was the GM.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is a good schedule for Sirianni to basically reestablish that he's legit, if he's ever going to be legit, right? And I think he's a good coach. I think that just, the way they kind of fizzled out was a bad look. And this is a chance to reestablish that, they are a good team with good coaching. And if they can get through this and make the playoffs, especially with their last 3 games in the division, he can establish, hey, we're fine. We just, had a rocky road there for a minute.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Pittsburgh, man, former playoff team.
So first thing with Pittsburgh, I noticed is they don't play a division game till week 11,
Yeah, that's late.
and then they play Baltimore at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, Cleveland, Philadelphia, at Baltimore. And then Kansas City and Cincinnati. That's a
The
tough
the
fucking end of the schedule.
yeah, their last three, well, actually, really, even their last four games, or even their last fucking dude, no, their last from week 11 on, they are fucked.
Uh-huh.
They have arguably the hardest finish to the season.
Yeah, I would say without a doubt that's the hardest. I think that's like the hardest finish to a season I've seen.
I think that could be the hardest finish to a season that we've seen so far. Um, wow, which means they got to come out and they got to beat up on some teams, which is not going to be easy when they're playing 3 out of their first 4 on the road. Pittsburgh might have gotten effed real hard in this schedule, man. Oh man. This will be the true test for Mike Tomlin. Can
So
you
yeah,
be
they got to
above
play.
500 again?
They played 3 out of their first 4 on the road, but 2 of the 3 road games are easy fucking teams.
I get it, man. I would say if you were playing them in the middle of the season, yeah. But when you're right off the bat, when you've got new quarterback,
Hmm.
fuck, man, I don't know, dude. That's a hard start for anybody.
And then they played the New York teams back to back at home, 7 and 8 going into the bye.
Yep.
But that's a hard. Good lord, I didn't like it. Didn't click until I just looked at it now. Baltimore at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, home against Cleveland, at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, Kansas City at home,
Dude.
Cincinnati at home.
I think they got hosed by the schedule makers. I think that's this is the schedule maker saying no, Mike Tomlin, you are not going to finish above 500 this year.
But he's gonna figure out a way.
Yeah, he'll find a way. Well, because some of those are division games, and he's gonna be like, "Ah, fuck you! I'm gonna upset you guys."
Yeah, really, like they're all their division. God damn, I hate that. Like Cleveland twice
He's
in
yeah, he's
3
just
weeks.
that good of a coach, man. He's just that good of a coach that he'll find a way to persevere and get through it. Any other coach would potentially be fucked finishing the year that way.
So they have 5 primetime games, 6 games in windows of exclusivity.
Yeah. A good mid-season bye. That's good for them. You could argue maybe you would want it a couple weeks earlier just because of the
Yeah.
new quarterbacks in the system and whatever. But, Tomlin's such a disciplined coach, and then you argue some of those are softer opponents, right? I like where the bye week's at. And then they come out of the bye against Washington, even though it's on the road.
It's
It
Washington.
it should be a good way to come off the bye and maybe build confidence before you have that nightmare finish to a year.
Hmm. I would like, if I was Pittsburgh, I would want a week 5 or a week 6 bye.
You'd want an earlier one, really.
Yeah. And the reason I would is because if you come out of the gate, Russ, who wins the starting job, isn't getting it done, you have that extra week for the bye week to
Yeah, to
pivot
make the
field,
change. Yeah.
to make the change.
See, I don't know. Looking at the end of the schedule here, I kind of like it where it's at because it's like, okay, take a fucking breath because you're about to have one easy game and then the rest are a nightmare.
Yeah, it can be like my concern is just,
Yeah, it could be done by then if Russ struggles, right?
yeah, if Russ struggles and going into the bye and with the week 9 bye, it's going
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean,
hard.
yeah, if Russ struggles and Justin Fields struggles, it's hey, we're going into the bye and we're maybe looking at a third quarterback and we're going to definitely be drafting a quarterback next year. Which
Maybe.
I don't think, Tomlin's not going to fucking lay down, right? So it seems unlikely, but anything can happen. All right,
All right.
you ready to go to the 49ers?
49ers. 49ers
Playoff
have
team.
playoff team 3, 4, 5, 6 primetime games.
as they should. They've been one of the best teams like every fucking year.
Start the season like it's kind of a ho hum schedule that by their buys week 9. They have some tough teams before the bye, a couple tough teams after the bye. It's a well balanced schedule for them. They don't have too long of a road trip, too short of a road trip. They play a couple division games before and then the rest after. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Sharp has it middle of the road, right? And
yeah, it's like 18 or something.
yeah, um, it looks like a fairly respectable schedule to me. Like
Yeah.
I don't see it being unbearable. I don't see it being easy, but I also don't see it like crazy hard either. Like this is a legit schedule, in my opinion. This is like, this is what an NFL schedule should look like. You've got some good games, you've got some maybe easy games, you got a midseason bye. Um, I'm not seeing any crazy thing with like, a bunch of away games in a row.
Yeah, like
Even
two and
even at the
two,
end of the
but
year, it's their divisional games are spread out pretty well. I mean, this is a very balanced schedule in my opinion. Maybe the most balanced schedule we've seen.
them and kind of Philadelphia seems like a balance. Or
Yeah.
no,
I mean, but
yeah,
Philly
Philadelphia
gets the
seems like a
heavy
little,
weighted divisional games at the end, right?
yeah.
San
Uh,
Fran's like very spread out, very even all the way through, I think.
yeah, I'll give you that. They have uh Philly, Philly has three at the end
Yeah.
in the early bye. That's a nice schedule. It's a comfortable schedule for San Francisco.
That's a hey, you're a former Super Bowl team. You know, if you want to make that playoff run again, this is a schedule that you can do it in as long as you do your job. If
Yeah,
you have the Super Bowl hangover, then this schedule could very well bite you in the ass. Otherwise, it's manageable, man. You're a
yeah, and
playoff team. You should be able to make
their
the
quote
playoffs on the schedule.
their quote tough games outside of the division are kind of split home and road. Like
Yep.
nothing's really weighted one way or another for them.
No, I like the schedule a lot for the 49ers, man. I think I would like this kind of a schedule for any team, I think. This is like, hey, if you want to make the playoffs, you should be winning this kind of a schedule.
Seattle, looking at Seattle's schedule, it's kind of the same. Like
All
this is
right, so we're moving on to Seattle, not a former playoff team.
not a former playoff team. By week 10, they have one, two,
Somehow they
three,
got four fucking
four
playoff.
primetime
Yeah,
games.
four primetime games. Sorry.
But if you look at their schedule, it's no real long home stretches, no real long road. Like maybe in the middle, like week 5 to week 9, they play 4 out of 5 at home. But it's fairly evenly split. Their
8 games
division
against former playoff teams.
their division schedule, they play 2 division games before the bye and then the 4 after. I don't like the Arizona at 3 weeks with the Jets
Yeah.
splitting. That's a little weird.
So I think, for a team with a rookie head coach, this is actually a good spot for a bye week because they have
Hmm.
consistency on the roster, right? You've got the same
Yeah,
quarterback, the same wide receivers, the same running back, a lot of the same players on defense. So even though they made a change at coach, you have a lot of continuity on the roster. And so I think that that's actually a really good spot for a bye week.
yeah. Did I did I say it was middle of the road, 15th 15th easiest schedule? So kind of middle of the road.
Okay. I mean, they do close out on the road the last two. That kind of sucks. But,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
it's at Chicago and then at the Rams.
yeah. And I don't know. I mean, what are you getting vibe wise? Are people expecting Seattle to make a playoff push this year? To me, it's kind of like new coach, a lot changing.
It's like
I think you
I'm
get a free pass this first year, man.
I think so too, but I'm also like I'm not hearing a lot, or reading a lot out of Seattle.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, which is abnormal.
Yeah. Well, Pete Carroll's, in the front office now, so
Yeah,
um yeah, the first two games are winnable for sure. Second two get tough. Then you got the Giants. Um Man, it's
like my instinct looking at their schedule is you're looking at 9-8, 8-9. Like that's just like my first guess.
yeah,
Just looking
and
at
I
the
think they missed the playoffs, but it's, you know, if they caught some fire, maybe they could sneak in.
exactly. No, I think you're right. I think you need 10 wins to be a wildcard team in the NFC this year. 9 wins might do it, but so
Yeah. Okay. Tampa Bay's next. Former
Tampa Bay
playoff
got
team.
former playoff team. They got four for prime time. They have
It's pretty good for Tampa Bay, man, because they're like one of the weaker playoff teams in my opinion.
yeah, so they have the 11th easiest schedule, which looking at it, I don't understand how the fuck they have the 11th easiest schedule. How the fuck? So they play Detroit, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Kansas City, San Francisco, Dallas. Six.
It's only what six games against former playoff teams.
Yeah, but and they play Kansas City and San Francisco. They play the Super Bowl back to back, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's
But they are
two
going
Super Bowl
to a
teams
bye.
back to back.
Three
Uh,
out of 3 out of 4 weeks. Baltimore, Atlanta, at Kansas City, home for San Francisco.
yeah, I think if they can keep themselves relevant, that's a good spot to have the bye week because even though they're going out on the road, they're playing the Giants and the Panthers, which they could win back to back.
Yeah. Well,
And then,
Giants, Panthers, Vegas,
yeah.
and Chargers.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I think their schedule after the bye, if you're not looking at road or home, that's a really good schedule for them to make another
Mhm.
playoff run.
I agree with you.
It is
Even
it is
looking,
tough
even,
before then though. It is tough before then.
even looking at home and road, it's still a manageable schedule to make a playoff run
Yeah, but they got to find a way to beat some tough teams early just
in.
to keep morale where it needs to be and because Detroit, Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City, San Fran all before the bye. I mean, if they lost every one of those games, it'd be hard for them, I think, to have any momentum after the bye.
Right. Well, they lost to Detroit, Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City, San Francisco. That's five of. I mean, they're 6-5,
Yes, well, I guess yeah. I mean, yes, assuming you win all the
or
other
five,
ones that you
five,
should
5.
win.
Sorry, buys
Yeah,
week 11, not week 12. So they're 5-5.
yeah, assuming you don't get surprised by, Atlanta
Washington,
or whatever.
Denver, at Atlanta, at New Orleans, Atlanta at home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that's the goal, right? Stay 500 until the bye, and then you make your playoff push.
Yeah. Maybe hope you can pick off one of the teams
Yep.
like San Francisco.
Yeah, I think if they beat any of those playoff teams before the bye, it's a huge win, right? And that's where it could like spark a run where they're like, yeah, man, we got it. We beat fucking Detroit or we beat Philly or whatever. Like, we can do this.
The one is Baltimore on Monday night.
You're saying the one to win is Baltimore?
That's the one they'll win. That's a trap game for Baltimore.
Okay. Why? Who do they got next?
At Cleveland.
Hmm. There you go.
They play Washington the week before. Then that's that's a trap game for Baltimore.
Tadpole, Baker Mayfield. Hope you're watching Gridiron Grinder.
That's the trap game for Baltimore there. or
Yeah,
for
and
yeah.
I think Tampa Bay would go nuts if they beat Baltimore, man.
Hmm.
All right, next up we got the Titans, man.
Titans have one primetime game, early
Yeah,
bye, week 5. Um,
that's a good spot for them to have a bye. New coach, young quarterback, lot changing here.
fairly even home and road mix on the schedule.
Final three against the division, but I don't think it's going to matter for them.
They have the sixth hardest schedule.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's tough. Four out of their last five are against the division, man. I don't like that. I could get a few of them at the end to make it spicy, but 4 out of 5 kind of bothers me, man.
5 of 7.
Yeah, 5 out of 7. Come on, you're playing everybody at the end of the year. I don't know. What are the schedule makers hoping Tennessee's going to pick something up by the end of the year and then maybe fucking shock the world here and get in the playoffs?
Yeah, so they play division game week 6 coming out of the bye, and then don't play another one till week 12.
I don't know, man. I don't see them getting in the playoffs, but it's weird how they're stacking it at the end like that.
Yeah, and it's only a couple teams that have like the stack. Like I think we talked about it with Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago doesn't play a division game till week 11, and we just talked about it with another team. I forget who.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them that have a handful of them at the end, but not a lot of them are like
Pittsburgh.
that stacked at the end.
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh and Chicago are really stacked at the end.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Tennessee, not a whole lot to really balk at other than that, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
Well, and that takes us to Washington. We got our last team here, man. What do you say about these guys?
So they have 2 primetime games. How?
Yep.
I don't fucking know. They have the
I think they've been killing the offseason. I love what they're doing, man. But is it going to be enough to, rookie quarterback do anything this year? I don't know. But I
middle of
think
the road
I think that they're
schedule, like
shaking it up
13th.
enough to set a good foundation.
Middle of the road schedule. It's the 13th easiest.
Okay.
Kind of a good mix, home and road.
Ooh, man, crazy late bye week for such a
Yeah,
team in
week
flux.
14.
Ooh, that sucks for them, man.
But then they cut week 14 with a bye, but then they come out of the bye to it
A
at New
winnable
Orleans,
road game
winnable
potentially,
road game. Then they feel they can pick. Theoretically, they can pick Philly. Might be able to pick Philly off at home or Dallas off at last game of the season.
Yeah, I don't see them getting in the playoffs, but it's not I don't know, it's not like a nightmare schedule, right? It's just that they're a young team trying to get better.
They
So,
kind of have a tough back-to-back week 5 and 6,
yeah, Cleveland, Baltimore, yep, I could
and
see
then
that.
week 11 and 12.
Yeah. But 11 and 12 are divisional, right? So
Yeah.
it's tough, but it's not like 5 and 6 tough. Um, 3 out of 4 to start on the road. See, that's the thing that maybe bothers me for them is you're starting 3 out of 4 on the road and you don't have a
4 out of
bye
6.
week. Yeah, and you don't have a bye week until 14. It's just one
4
of
out of
these
their
ones where
first 6 on the road.
for a young team that's not good and established yet, that's a really hard road for them.
Yeah. So it's really 4 out of 6, but outside their
Yeah.
bye, they have after week 10 on, they only have 3 road games.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean this schedule's basically just Jaden Daniels get established and just try to develop over the course of the year because we're not expecting you to get to the playoffs. It's set the foundation for next year is what it is.
Basically, try to pick off some of these divisional games, get some experience.
Yeah, yeah. If you can snipe a divisional team, and maybe build some momentum at the end of the year, And I mean, maybe that late bye week is a blessing in disguise, right? Because if they came out of that bye week and let's just say they closed off the year winning 3 out of 4, and maybe you get Tennessee in week 13, so you win 4 out of your last 5, going into next year, they would feel like, oh man, we've got momentum now. We're building off of something. And so I could see that being a silver lining for them if it plays out that way. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying if it did.
So overall on the schedule, who's this? There's 6 rookie quarterbacks, right?
Yeah. Let me see. So you've got, well, Atlanta's is backing up.
Ah,
So,
Atlanta's backing up. Okay. So 4 of the 5 rookie quarterbacks that are projected starters are first games on the road.
yeah,
The
that's
only
fun.
one that's home is Chicago,
Okay.
who play
Yeah, I don't know.
Tennessee.
Yeah, fuck Chicago. All right. Can we do some question of the week time? Are you ready for that? Yeah. Okay. So James, it's basically a two-part question. Now that we got through the schedule, I want to know who do you think got the most favorable schedule and who got the fucking shaft. And while you think about it, because you might want to go back and skim what we went through last week, I'm just going to tell you, in my opinion, we hit the hardest one tonight, which was Pittsburgh. I think that they're getting the shaft for sure at the end of the fucking season, like weeks 11 on. I don't see anybody that's got a hard schedule like that. That's going to make it real hard for Tomlin to get to 500, man. But he'll
Uh-huh.
probably do it because he's a badass. The easiest, well, I wouldn't say the easiest, but the most favorable schedule. Man, it's really hard for me to not pick Chicago. I think Chicago. Well, dude, we're allowed to agree, right?
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. Chicago has such an easy start to the season, and then they get so many of their divisional games later on where it's like, hey, figure out how to be good, Caleb Williams, and everybody gel. And then when it matters most, you'll be ready to roll and maybe sneak into the playoffs. I don't know. I feel like the NFL sucked off the Bears with this schedule, dude. It pisses me off. And I know I'm biased because I'm a Lions fan, but I think that's a fucking garbage fucking schedule to give a team like that. It's like you're stacking the deck for them to make that surprise playoff push, which by the way they thought was going to be last year, and they fucking choked it up. So, now you're going to hand it to them? Come on.
So while you were talking, I've been trying to come up with a harder or a bigger shaft on the schedule
Then
than
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I've really been trying to.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't find it.
Yeah. I mean, it's Sharp has got Pittsburgh is the hardest schedule, and it's easy to see why. I mean, if you look at the other teams that got the top 5 hardest, man, I just don't see any of them touching Pittsburgh with the way they got to end the year, man.
Mm-hmm. And there was another team, and I'm looking for it, and I'm not finding it, that played their first divisional game in like week 10 or 11. It was
Yeah.
Chicago, it was Pittsburgh, and then there was another one.
And the crazy thing is, I'm looking at the top 5 easiest, and we were talking about how the Chargers kind of got a raw deal with the schedule, but somehow Sharp's got them as the number 2 easiest, man.
Yeah, it's because like it looks hard on paper, but like if you take out their division, they're playing the
Yeah. Yeah, I think
South.
maybe it's just the combination of the home versus away and the mix in there. But yeah, I don't know. It's
So they're playing the
yeah,
South and the North, so that kind of offsets it. AFC North and NFC South, so that kind of offsets each other. So I could. I can't really argue with that. I'm looking for the other team, and I'm not finding it. So maybe there's only the two teams that played their first division game in like week 11.
Hmm.
And like I'm trying to argue with
Well, you can just agree.
Chicago.
You can just agree.
No, I know. I can easily just just agree. And
Would you
but
take Atlanta or anybody else from Sharp's top five? I don't see. I don't see him being easier than Chicago.
so the thing with it is Chicago. They have a rookie quarterback. They start off with three playoff teams in their first 4 games, 5 games. Wait a minute. 2 playoff teams in their first 4 games.
Yeah,
But where they did them a favor is I think the bye week is about perfect for them for the rookie
yeah,
quarterback because in college you play 12 to 13 games. So he doesn't have a long stretch of like 10 games
yeah,
on either side of the bye. Um, week 7, so you have 10 games, 11 games after the bye. So that's gonna if they make the playoff run, week 12, week 13, he might start to run out of gas for it. But it's really where they did them the biggest favor was their toughest opponents are divisional. They're
yeah,
playing they're playing the AFC South,
yeah. The teams that your coach knows the most.
right? AFC South and the NFC West. But if you look at the West, besides the Rams, they're playing basically all the West teams at the end of the season. They're playing all the North teams at the end of the season. So like their last from week 11 on is either NFC North or NFC West teams,
Okay.
and which the two best NFC West teams, two 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 of the best NFC West teams, Rams. It's debatable, depends on how Stafford's playing and how they're protecting him because he could be hurt by week 4.
Yeah.
But they don't really
You never
have
know. Yeah.
they don't have a back-to-back hard teams, and they start their first 3 games are against the AFC South.
Yeah. I mean,
4 of the
you know,
first 6.
1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I could see them winning seven of their, seven of the teams through week 9 are winnable for them.
At least.
I mean,
Yes.
that's just, when you have a rookie quarterback, let's just say he only goes halfway with them. He could be, 500 and finally got his feet under him when it matters most going from a week 11 on. And so
Exactly.
I can't pick another team that got a better, more favorable schedule than that, man.
No, I agree with you. Like I can't.
So, but hey, if we're the Lions and we want to be a legit playoff team, we need to just fucking crush these motherfuckers no matter what. We got to beat
Mhm.
them. We got to beat Minnesota. We got to beat Green Bay. Green Bay, in my opinion, is kind of flying under the radar a little bit right now. They got really good last year with Jordan Love. I think they're the biggest threat, not Chicago, even though Chicago's getting all the attention. But either
Mhm.
way, we can't lose sight of any of them.
Yeah, and like week 13 and week 14 is a little bit of week 13 to 15 is a little bit of a week 13 to 16 is a little bit of a rough stretch at Detroit, at San Francisco, at Minnesota, home against Detroit.
Yeah. But let's just say you win Green Bay, Minnesota 11-12. Oh, you're riding high, dude. You're thinking, okay, that's fine. We can beat anybody now.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have to do that.
Yeah, I have no arguments. Like I'm looking at it and seeing
Yeah.
if there is an argument, and I just can't. seem
I
to come
got
up
you,
with one.
dude. It's tough. That's all right. We agree on this one. We agree. Yay. So, what are you thinking? Next week, we're going to do our super early record predictions.
Yeah, should be no problem. I should be able to get that fired off
All right. So,
between
if
now and then.
super early next week, I've got, let's see, I've got the kids on Friday. So, let's try to do like, I don't know. You want to do like Wednesday or Thursday next? Well, Thursday's the July 4th. You want to do next Wednesday?
Yeah, that works.
All right. I'm just going to make a note while we're talking. Sweetness. That's all I got for tonight, man. You got any closing questions, comments, anything along those lines?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. All right, bud. Well, hey, it was fun. Always is. Hope you have a good night. I'll catch you later, man.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.